Good morning, this is Tom with the Tractor Rescue Ranch. I am working on this distributor for this 8N Ford, and if you'd seen the previous video when I pulled it apart and cleaned it up, I made a major mistake, and I thought I'd own up to it. When I was editing and watching the video, it dawned on me that I didn't have things together right. And it has to do with these weights that advance the timing on it. And when I put it back together, this is how it was when I put it back together. The springs in it are pushing the weights out. And I noticed that when I was doing that video, and I thought, man, that's not right. Them springs are supposed to hold it in, and then the centrifugal force puts those weights out. And that's what advances your timing. So I had to pull things apart here again, and I'm going to have to get these changed. So all it is a matter of these weights have a couple springs there and there, and I just had them on the wrong end. So just put that thing back together with the springs going on the right end of the shaft. And now you can see the springs are holding the weights in instead of pushing them out. So that was a major mistake, and I'm sure glad I seen it on video, because if I'd have got it all together that way, it wouldn't have worked right, and I'd had to pull that distributor all out, which is kind of hard to do on those 8N Fords. So from there, I'll stick things back together. I have got the new points already in there. Figure there's no reason for you guys to watch me fiddle with them little teeny screws, but I will come back in and show you how I get the adjustments done on the gap. Okay, I've got everything back together. Thought I'd talk just quick about the timing of it. These 8N Fords, the only way, when you pull this distributors out, the only way you can get the timings off is to go complete 180 degrees. So when you pull it, before you pull it out of the machine, all you have to do is mark which direction this rotor is pointing. And it's hard to see it because I've been rubbing it, but I marked with a Sharpie, I just marked a line there where that's supposed to be pointing. And then when I put it back in the machine, all I got to do is make sure that's pointing in that same direction. And then right here is where it hooks into the tractor. And so the only way that can go wrong is if you have it all the way the opposite side. A lot of these distributors have a gear right here, and so you can get it off just a single tooth or so. And these 8N Fords, the way these are built, it's pretty nice to know that it'll be right on there. And then the fine adjustment on the timing is right here on top. If you can see those adjustments there. So you just slide this back and forth, and it rotates the whole box in there. So I'm just going to start this out right here at 0 on this part of the timing. And that should be good enough to start with. So on my points, 0.025 is what they recommend for the gap here. And this has a cam screw in here, so these two screws here that hold the points in, you just gotta loosen them, and then you gotta turn everything until it's on the top of the cam on these lobes up here. I don't know if you can see that, them points opening and closing. So you just adjust it when it's at the top of the lobe. Stick your feeler gauge in there. Oh, I need a little bit more. So that's just about right. So I'm going to tighten these screws down and then check it again after the screws are tightened down. Yeah, we've got it in pretty good shape there. So I'm getting it together here. There's just another important piece here. You can see on this coil, that little spring there. That little spring has to make sure you get it down in this hole right here and onto that screw where things are screwed together. The screw's got a little concave thing, so it'll push it to the center, but you need to just be real careful and make sure that you don't start things on there crooked and get that string or that spring bent out of the way. That looks pretty good and straight. All right, so there you have the distributor all rebuilt. So I've got this marked. Yeah, we're set up right. I've got it marked here and here so that the timing will be straight on. I don't know if anybody's interested, but I could give you a quick explanation of what's going on here with the electricity. What happens in here is you got power going into the coil up here on top. It goes around the coil winding, goes through out the bottom of the coil and into the points. And when the points are closed, you have current flowing through it all. And as that current is flowing through, it's got a magnetic field in that coil. So when the points are closed, the current's running through to ground. And then when it turns and the points open, all of that current stops going through there. And when that current that's going through stops, it collapses around a secondary coil in here. And the secondary coil is what creates the high voltage that then comes down into your rotor, and depending on where the rotor is rotated, that high voltage comes out to your spark plug wires. And so that's just in a nutshell how things are working in there electricity wise. And then the condenser is just there to help the coil so that the coil doesn't, when the points open, you don't want them to spark. So that condenser is kind of fooling the electricity. When it first starts to open, all of that electricity says, well, we can run into this condenser. And so that gets the points open without sparking and burning your points up. That's just a quick and easy explanation of how things are working in there electricity wise. Thought you might be a little bit interested in that. So this thing's ready to go on the tractor. Thanks for watching.